And what was the process like working in, as you said 3.5 week period, the
Mhm.
entire album start to finish was done? So did you guys thrive under the pressure or did it get tight near the end?
Oh, I was so stressed. Like going in, like we worked with Lee Albrecht, who like I've worked with 100 times. Like he works with me on a lot of like my covers and my own projects as well.
Mhm.
So I'm no like Lee and I are no strangers. Like we work really well together. Um, but to do a 10 song album in a 3.5 week period is like insane.
Mhm.
Yes.
So we got to like the end and we realized like, oh my God, like we need another song. We were like one short.
Uh-oh.
Hmm.
So we were kind of digging in Chris's archives. Um, and we found a bunch of songs that Chris had done with Lee um prior to the pandemic.
Hmm.
And we were like, okay, what can we salvage out of this because they weren't used, and how can we make these better?
Hmm.
And those two songs became Eat Glass and I Hope You're Happy.
Hmm.
So we kind of like were really, really digging with that. So it was like a happy accident that we found those in like some archives and they actually really, really worked. I think I Hope You're Happy is like one of my favorite songs on the whole album.
Hmm.
Um, but it was stressful. Like I'm a person who like overthinks what I write and I'm like, oh my God, is it good enough? So I think we really challenged ourselves, but it was worth it in the end because we were able to just like commit to ideas and not overthink them.
Hmm.
And I think that resulted in just better songs.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you're not like overworking it
Right.
over, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. I'm curious, like, why the decision was made to work on the record this way, like under the pressure. When I feel you mentioned previous releases have been like storyboarded out and like you've been able to kind of overthink things. Was there like the conscious thought of like we don't want to overthink this record and that's why
Mhm.
you decided to do it this way?
There are other factors. We obviously like post-pandemic, the pandemic like really hurt our band as far as
Mhm.
like the momentum. Like we had 2020, like we had a full year of touring planned and then that was pretty much done. And I really think that hindered sort of the momentum of the band. So everyone had to go do their own thing after the
Mhm.
pandemic. So I think working on an album in such a quick time, it was because everyone has jobs. Like
Yeah.
we had to really find a scheduling that worked for everyone.
Mhm.
And this was like the time. So we were like, we're doing this. We're gonna challenge ourselves. Um, and Chris has a health condition and he wasn't able to come across the border
Mhm.
to Grand Rapids. So he stayed in Toronto and we were like phoning him in through video calls and it was like we were like, okay, Chris, like we really obviously want your touch because you are co-producer on this album.
Mhm.
Um, so it was very different, but I think we thrived under the pressure at the end of the day,
Mhm.
despite it being super stressful during.
Yeah.
I think now looking back on it and hearing the songs, like I think we at the end thrived in that way.
That's
Hell
good.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Wonderful.